Yeah, boy.
Eastwood, where's the air horn?
It's right here.
The comments are cracking me up, man. What is happening? Why is this franchise so bad?
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Running Back Nation, what is good?
Oh, man. Thank you guys for the laughs, man. I needed this. You know what? At the end of the day, at least the Philadelphia 76ers are entertaining as shit. At least if you got things going on in your life and you need a good laugh, you can just go over to Twitter and type in Sixers. Oh, and they are going to give you a treat all the time. Team has been losing since 1983. Well, they won in 1983. They haven't won anything since then. And they have just been doing things wrong year after 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 year. Yeah. We're going to get into some things. We're actually going to listen to the segment of Brian Windhorst's ESPN podcast if they don't take it down while I'm streaming it live. We're going to listen to the segment where he alluded to what he thinks or what he's been hearing that might actually happen. And Windhorst is Windhorst is the guy, man. Windhorst and Woj, and he's one of those guys that he's well connected. He hears things from executives and different people that work with different people. He hears things, man. And that's, if Windhorst says it, it's really gonna, if Windhorst says it, it probably might happen. All right. Before we get into that, everybody hit the like button. 153 people in here right now. Give me 153 likes, man. If you watch the streams, if you watch the show, if I give you any type of enjoyment at all that I ask is that you repay me by hitting the like button and sending these streams and videos through the YouTube algorithm. And be active in the chat. Give me your thoughts in the chat. I'm definitely going to be reading the chat through this stream. And then at the end, I think we will post the link for anybody that wants to come up here, join the show, and give your opinions. That's what I'm doing. I'm back on StreamYard, so you can just click the link and pop up. You don't have to dial in a phone number and with an access code or anything like that. We're back in 2023. You click a link, you can do it right on your iPhone or Android, whatever it is. You can do it right on there. Click the link, pop up on the show, and give me your thoughts. So I want to do that too. All right. But first, let's let's get into some things here, okay? First of all, I want to tell you this. My guy, Brad Doe, NBA. Shout out to Brad O, NBA. He I had him on the channel a couple of weeks ago talking about James Harden. He's a Houston Rockets podcaster. And he was on ESPN radio the other day. So shout out to Brad Doe for doing his thing and being recognized for the hard work, man. Keep grinding. Shout out to you. No reunion for James Harden in Houston this season. Brad Doe says, go win a ring. Go win a ring, James. Go win a ring. The Sixers can win a championship with James Harden. I want to tell you that. There's plenty of times where I've said you can't win a championship with James Harden. There's plenty of times where I said the Sixers are screwed. We're done. It's over. They can win a championship with James Harden on the roster as the starting point guard. They cannot win a championship if James Harden is the number 2 scorer that you rely on in the playoffs at this stage of his career. I want to make that clear. I don't know how the James Harden, Nick Nurse thing is going to work. They can't win a championship if they are relying on James Harden in the playoffs to come through as a clutch scorer in a game 6 or a game 7. And yes, I know all the Harden fanboys, well, Embiid sucked too. I know that. He did. But it's been a long time, coming where Joel Embiid gets shut down in the playoffs. He's a center. He gets triple teamed. I thought he showed a lack of effort in this last playoffs, and I didn't like that. But you end up relying on a number 2 scorer when Embiid is either getting his ass kicked or quitting like he did in the last playoffs, or he was still injured, whatever. Blame it on injuries if you want to. The guy's always injured. But you can't win a championship with James Harden as the number 2 scorer, relying on him in clutch situations in big-time games. Because as Tim Legler said, James Harden's floor is much too low for that to be a thing. Jason Tatum had a terrible series, but when it mattered the most in Game 7, he came alive and hit clutch shot after clutch shot after clutch shot and dropped 50. What did he drop, dude? 52 on us? When Harden's bad, he's like 5 points bad, not 17. He's like 5 points bad. You know what I mean? He'll give you a couple like he did last year, and he'll be the elite facilitator that he is. Led the league in assists last year, and he'll be a floor general. And he's a veteran. And he, with the ball in his hands, he's a magician in the half court, in the full court. It's not that I think James Harden is trash. I think James Harden no longer has what you need as relying on him as a scoring option. So the only way the Sixers can win a championship with James Harden is if Tyrese Maxey becomes an absolute star. That's the only way. If Tyrese Maxey becomes a star-level scorer this upcoming season and Joel Embiid remains healthy, which... if you're just playing the odds here, that's not going to happen. If you lose a blackjack game 8 times in a row, you play it a 9th time, you're probably not going to win. It's just if Joel Embiid stays healthy and Tyrese Maxey becomes a star level player, which I think he can become a star level player. I don't think the timeline is right. I don't think Maxey can do that yet. And I said that last year, and people were like, just watch. And then in the playoffs, he just has that little bit of, young player energy in big time moments. Or Doc Rivers just didn't use the kid at all, didn't implement an offense at all for him. And Tyrese Maxey actually outperformed, the situation based on what was or was not given to him in an offensive game plan. So maybe it is very likely that Nick Nurse actually turns Tyrese Maxey into the number 2 scorer on the team by implementing him into the offense. And then James Harden's just a facilitator and the veteran guy and isn't necessarily relied on to give you a game-winning score in the end of the fourth quarter in a Game 7. That's all I'm saying, right? Because if you really think about that, Doc Rivers made James Harden and Joel Embiid 1 and 2, and he kept saying pecking order, pecking order, pecking order, and he never said Maxey in there. You know what I mean? And I think it was to a fault that Doc Rivers thought James Harden was a superstar and could come through clutch in Game 6 and Game 7 in the playoffs. And yes, he was clutch in 2 of those games. He was also the worst player on the floor in 4 of those games. But yeah, I think it was partly Doc Rivers' fault, not implementing Tyrese Maxey, not trying to make Tyrese Maxey one of the main scorers on the team. It was just Harden and Embiid, and it burned out, and boom, pow, everything blew up. Maybe Nick Nurse, can get more out of Tyrese Maxey and run a more balanced offense, and maybe have Harden in a lesser scoring pressure type of role. I don't know. But either way, I'm rambling already. I got a lot to say, man. And I just drank a V8 energy drink. He says this because in recent days, I've understood that Houston is no longer the option for James Harden. Kelly O. Co. reports NBA, The Athletic, Rockets podcaster. I would call them out of the running. So the Houston Rockets, who I thought were the team that was going to offer James Harden enough money for him to want to leave Philly. You know what I mean? If he was going to get enough money that if the Houston Rockets were going to say, hey, we'll give you a max contract, then I thought maybe he would have left Philly because Philly wasn't going to match that money. And the Houston Rockets were one of the only teams that had the cap space to do that. And I thought it made sense for Houston too. I really think it did. Young players, I thought they could bring in James Harden. He could elevate the young guys. He could bring some order to the half-court offense as a veteran point guard. And they had the cap space to do it. But apparently the Rockets are not in the running anymore. And I think we could pretty much guarantee that James Harden's going to sign a brand new contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. That the Rockets not being in the running anymore is, the first step to that, right? It's the first kind of sign that tells me it's kind of obvious now that James Harden is coming back. Now he's going to opt out of his player option. We already knew that. And here's the issue. He's going to opt out of his player option. And we thought it's because he wants a bigger contract with another team, or he wants a long-term contract, whatever it is. Really, he's opting out of this player option because Daryl Morey is going to give him more money than that $36.5 million player option. This is coming from Brian Windhorst. The 76ers are most likely going to give James Harden a contract that is more money than that $36.5 million player option. And here's why that's going to happen. It has nothing to do with basketball. It has nothing to do with basketball. The reason that's going to happen is because James Harden and Daryl Morey are friends. And I mean friends. I mean actual friends they are. Two friends in an NBA franchise in charge of millions and millions of dollars. Here's why that's going to happen. Because a couple of years ago, what was it, last year? What was it? James Harden opted out of his player option and signed for less money. Yeah, he had a 2-year contract last year. Last year would have been his player option. He opted out and signed for less money, signed a new 2-year contract with a second-year player option. He opted out of his contract 2 off seasons ago, or last off season. I don't know. I'm confused. But he opted out of his contract and took less money to help Daryl Morey go and get players to help them build a stronger roster. Now, Daryl Morey just went and freaking signed the 2016 Houston Rockets, so it ended up not really helping us that much at all. He went and gave PJ Tucker, 37-year-old PJ Tucker, $33 million. You know what I mean? And I love PJ Tucker. I love his effort. I love his heart, but let's be serious here. And he went and signed Daniel House Jr., who Doc Rivers didn't even really play the whole year, and then kind of played him in the playoffs and then stopped playing him again. So partly Doc Rivers' fault, yes. What I'm saying is James Harden opted out and signed for less money to help Daryl Morey build a stronger, deeper roster with free money. So Daryl Morey, being the friend of James Harden, now owes James Harden for opting out and taking less money. So no matter how he played last season, no matter if he's injured or healthy or washed or not washed or collapsed in game 6 and collapsed even harder in game 7, no matter any of that, he's going to opt out and Daryl Morey is going to give him more money just to do him that favor because he did Daryl Morey a favor opting out and taking less money last year. So that's what's going to happen. Daryl Morey is going to give his friend a contract that is why is somebody spamming the chat? I think I muted that dude yesterday, a couple days ago. But yeah, Daryl Morey is going to give James Harden a big contract because they're friends and James did him a favor last year, and he's going to do James a favor this year. Now, it's about the length of the contract that matters, so we will see. But let's go ahead and listen to the segment of the podcast where Brian Windhorst said this. And shout out to, hold on a second. I wanted to shout you out. Shout out to Chris Sheed on Twitter for DMing me this. He said this in my Twitter DMs before anybody else on Twitter said it. He was like, yo, Brian Windhorst just said this about James Harden. It's on this podcast at about the 26-minute mark. Go check it out. And I was like, damn, bro. Thanks for that. But here it is. So let's listen to it. All right. Let's hear what he says, man.
Happens at the end of the week here, because I do think that sets a little bit of a stage for what happens when we talk about extensions.
Yeah, when you talk about Harden and Kyrie, and correct me if you think I'm out of line here, Bobby, please say so. I think that those guys can present the case.
All right, hold on. We got some dorks fucking. What are you guys doing, bro? Why are you guys spamming the chat? Why are you trolling right now? DJ is 35. What does that even mean? I'm actually 36. I turned 37 in about a month, so you're not even correct. Anyway, let's start this over. Trolls in the chat, man. Got to get some mods up in here. Here we go. Wait, 26-minute mark. Here we go. Let's hear what he says. Well, let's start at 25 because I think Bobby Marks said something before Brian Windhorst. Here you go.
Healthy, and you say we're not going to pay you like 2 top 10 players. And in the case of like Paul George, if he's heard his name in trade rumors this summer, you wonder we don't want to offend our guys.
He's talking about Kyrie Irving and James Harden, by the way, and he's saying that the Paul George situation kind of relies on what happens with James Harden and Kyrie Irving
Guys as well,
Well, that's why I think if you're Steve Ballmer and Lawrence Frank, you have an eye on what happens with Harden and Irving. I think you have an eye on that because I would be surprised if basically either player get a blank check. I think there's going to have to be some negotiations from a salary standpoint where you're not going in there saying we're going to start you at 47 and work our way up.
47? 47?
And I think that,
and I know the NBA salaries continue to rise, but this amount of money is becoming absolutely ludicrous.
could set the stage for what happens with, especially for two guys have been Harden, compared to the two Clipper guys, they've been relatively more healthy than. So I'm intrigued what happened.
Harden has been relatively more healthy. I mean, Achilles. So what did he have? Hamstring the year that we traded for him, right? And then what do you have? A sore Achilles. He was finally healthy, finally in shape, and then forgot had a sore Achilles. But anyway,
Happens at the end of the week here, because I do think that sets a little bit of a stage for what happens when we talk about extensions.
Yeah, when you talk about Harden and Kyrie, and correct me if you think I'm out of line here, Bobby, please say so. I think
such a polite guy. If you think I'm out of line here, Bobby, please say so.
Those guys can present the case that they are max players, even at $47 million a year, which I think would be both of their maxes, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
I think that you can say that they are quote unquote worth that. It's not.
Oh, what? Brian Windhorst, what do you mean, bro? What are you talking about, dude? Yeah, they're either worth that or they're not worth that. Like they're either worth James Harden is either worth $47 million a year or he's not worth that. I think you could say that quote unquote they are worth that. What does that actually mean? Now I went back too far. Hold on. That it just threw me off, Brian.
That on the cap, it's how many years?
Hold on, let's go back right before. Shit. There we go.
There we talk about extensions.
Yeah, when you talk about Harden and Kyrie, and correct me if you think I'm out of line here, Bobby, please say so. I think that those guys can present the case that they are max players, even at $47 million a year, which I think would be both of their maxes, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yep. I think that you can say that they are quote unquote worth that. It's not the average. It's not the that on the cap. It's how many years, and for different reasons. One, because Harden is up there in age, and has frankly looked like he's declined a little bit. And
yeah, there you go, Brian. Now you're talking some sense.
I don't know if that decline is getting reversed. And for Kyrie,
it's not. Declines don't get reversed. You get older, you decline. You keep declining.
It's because I like the background. Your background is changing.
For me?
Yeah. Bobby's in a studio in his background.
Says.
I need this in my office.
That's right. Anyway, in Kyrie's case, it's just, it's health, it's off-court things. So to me, it's if they're both getting max contracts, I don't have an issue with that. It's just going to be the years. And, in the case of the Clippers, it might be the years and the money, because the size of the money affects what the whole team can do. But yeah, I mean, the years is going to be, don't you think, with Kyrie and Harden is going to be what the real drama is my guess. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, as I always say,
I think we're getting close to where he's about to drop a bomb, dude.
Kyrie's he's a max guy, but he's like a year-to-year max guy, right? Like, I don't mind paying him 47, but is it going to be 5 for 276? Is it going to be 4 for, I don't know, 230, somewhere around there? I think that's where the concern.
He's talking about Kyrie. Oh my God, I wouldn't want to pay Kyrie for more than 1 year at a time, dude. You don't even know if this guy's going to retire next week.
Certainly with Harden, 4 for 213, that's a huge number. It's a big number as far as going up. It's not declining. In a perfect world, you love to give him 47 in the first year and then 34, 34, and 34 for years 2 to 4. But that's not how this system works.
Right. Okay. So we'll see what happens. I cut you off a minute ago. Did you want to say something else?
No. I think the Clippers are, like, I asked Lawrence about this, and Lawrence said, look, we're going to have a hard, true conversation, an honest conversation with, his front office about what we want to do lengthwise and extension. I think the Clippers' number one argument to those two guys is going to be, you guys have played like what I think Bobby put this in 41% of your regular season games together. And there.
This is why I said, bro, I would never trade for Paul George. The guy's done.
There are going to be times when they are going to probably remember the Clippers front office. There were so many games last season where they were sitting there and people in the organization were like, what is happening? When are these guys going to come back and play?
Is that all he said about
I will always remember there was one day those two have been out for a couple Saturday afternoon. Those are people in the organization probably will remember when
on Thursday, $1 million team option on Thursday. They got 3 players on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
People in the organization were just like, we are throwing away games. What are we doing here? Why are these guys not playing? And there was massive frustration, not just Ty Lue, who had been frustrated all season long, but people in the organization. I think this is the type of thing that they probably will remember when it comes time to the extension. And certainly I think they're going to have to point to hard facts about it and then try to find a happy medium.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely watch it. Okay, so the other LA team is also got some interesting stuff this week, or not. I either will be or won't be. They're going to show their hand.
All right, so that's all he said about James Harden was that Brian Windhorst thinks you could make the case that they are that Kyrie and Harden are quote unquote worth the max. And then, Bobby Marks was saying, you would love to pay one of these. You would love to pay these guys like 1 year at a time, but that's not how it works. So if they're worth 47, you're going to have to give them a 4 or 5 year contract. That's the part about this that drives me nuts. Because James at 33, going to be 34 this year, is, like Brian Windhorst said, probably not trending up. And 4 years is too much, dude. 4 years is just too much. 4 years is just too much. It's just too much. But it's going to be like a Chris Paul type of situation where you're hoping he has like 1 or 2 really good years left and it delivers you a championship in those 1 or 2 good years left. And then the 3 or 4, the year 3 or year 4, you're going to be paying out the ass, but you already got your championship. Or then you try to trade him to teams that are taking on bad contracts or whatever. Like Chris Paul got moved to where? Washington, and then over to where the hell's Chris Paul now? I don't even know, man. Where did Chris Paul go? I forget. But either way, that's, I think, what's going to happen. You would love to be able to sign James Harden for 2 years, but I think it's going to be 4. And it's going to be 4 because you're hoping those first 2 years of that contract are like still really, really good James Harden years. And then the last 2 years of the contract, if he's bad and you still owe him $50 million, you're trying to trade a bad contract. And that's probably, sadly, that's 2 years from now is probably towards the end of Joel Embiid also. 7-footers don't play till they're 35, guys. Don't forget that. This is giving me anxiety. This is a very negative feeling I have right now. That's the epitome of me as a Sixers fan, what I just said out loud. This is giving me this is a very negative feeling I have right now. That's me watching the Sixers, talking about the Sixers, listening to what they do every offseason. But there it is. That's what Brian Windhorst said. He thinks that you can argue that these guys are worth max money for 1 year or 2 years, but you're not going to be able to give these guys a 1 year or 2 year contract. You're going to have to give them a 4 year contract. And it very well, James Harden could sign a 4 year, $200+ million contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. And if he does, then the tweet that I made up a month ago that blew up and ended up on Eric Snow's podcast ended up being true. And I don't even know it was true. I just made it up. Oh my God, I hate this team so much, dude. I hate this team so much. If we are paying Tobias Harris and James Harden a combined $100 million next year, and these two guys in Game 7 combined for 11 points, James Harden and Tobias Harris combined for 11 points in Game 7. And it's very likely that we're going to be paying them $100 million combined next season. Oh, my God. Oh, I can't even take it. Oh, my goodness. What do I even say? All right. Well, what's a couple more things to talk about here. The Rockets are going, the funniest part, one of the funniest parts about this, not the funniest part, the whole damn thing is funny. But you know, the Rockets, when Fred VanVleet opted out in Toronto and it was like, oh, Fred VanVleet's available, me and some other people were saying the Sixers should go get Fred VanVleet because he's going to be cheaper than James Harden. He's a little younger than James Harden. He's played with Nick Nurse. He won a championship with Nick Nurse. He's a ball sharing, off ball movement. He's a catch and shoot guy. He doesn't shoot an amazing percentage. Nobody's saying Fred VanVleet is some kind of superstar, but we were just saying that we think Fred VanVleet fits the system better, especially under Nick Nurse, than James Harden does. And the Houston Rockets say, you know what, we're not going to pay James Harden, but we will give Fred VanVleet $40 million per year. So it's funny. The Sixers are just like, I mean, the Rockets are just like, we actually would rather have Fred VanVleet at $40 million. than James at 47 or 50. So the Rockets are planning to tempt Fred VanVleet with a contract starting at 40 mil. Bro, a long time ago, a couple months ago, when he opted out, people were saying he wants $20 million a year. And we were saying, that's crazy. Fred VanVleet's not going to get $20 million a year. And now he's going to get $40 million a year from the Houston Rockets. $40 million for Fred VanVleet? There's no way, bro. One league source told the Rockets, armed with $60 million in cap space, they're going to tempt VanVleet with a 2-year, $80 million contract. What are we doing? What are we doing in the NBA when Fred VanVleet is getting a 2-year, $80 million contract? Stop. Everybody knock it off. What is happening? What is happening? These contracts are insane, and they're getting more insane. I said yesterday, and I mean this. I think money is ruining sports, and I don't think there's any way to come back from it. I don't. I think these players are making so much money that they're not motivated to win. They don't, you're seeing these guys that don't seem very dedicated to getting to the promised land or to winning the whole thing. And really, what's the incentive? What is actually the incentive of winning an NBA championship? Yeah, you guys have a killer instinct. Guys have a competitive nature. Guys want to be the best. You want to win a championship. But like I said, in 1970, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell were making $75,000 a year. That's equivalent to about $550,000 a year today. If you're making $550,000 a year right now, you are living wonderfully. You are living an amazing life if you're making $550,000 a year. I'm in Hershey, PA. There's two streets over, $5-6 million houses. Those dudes, Hershey executives, whoever, they're probably making $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 on a salary. They're living a wonderful life. These NBA players are making $50 million. What do you even do with $50 million, bro? What do you even do with that money? So all I'm saying is, when you start seeing, and this is brand new, people have not made this much money playing sports ever. This just happened. Like I said, 30 years ago, they were making $100,000. I'm just saying, when you start seeing these players that seem like they're not dedicated to actually winning the whole thing, how can you be, think about this, $50 million. It's probably so hard to be motivated to do anything when you can wake up in a $10 million condo in satin sheets, slip on your Gucci loafers, freaking Jeffrey from the Fresh Prince carries you into an elevator if you want him to. Pay him $10,000. Who cares? You go down to the first floor. You walk out to a pool bar, where some chick that looks like Kate Upton feeds you scrambled eggs in the morning and makes you a Bloody Mary. I don't know. I'm just saying, they're not living a normal life anymore. They're not even living anything close to a normal life. So maybe there's a lack of motivation. I can't imagine being that rich. Oh my God. You see that? That's why you start to see guys like, you're seeing like Zion Williamson. He was amazing in high school. He looks washed right now. He got $30 million for being the number 1 overall pick in the NBA, and he went nuts and started banging porn stars and just went nuts. No, I'm gonna let you guys call him, man. Let's do that. Let's do that for the rest of the show. This Harden thing just has me. This is just this is difficult, man. This is difficult. Cappy. Okay, I'm going to post the call-in link in the description of this video. Call in link. Put it at the top of the description. Let's do that. Oh, here we go. Call in link. Now, come on, man. What's going on here? Call in link. Boom. Paste. So there it is. The call in link should be at the top of the description right now. If you want to call in and give your thoughts on what is going on, give your thoughts on this situation, give your thoughts on the Sixers offseason so far. Give your thoughts on, the fact that people think that James Harden is going to get a 4-year, $200+ million contract from the 76ers. Let's do it. Oh, we got someone on the line already. Chaw, is it? Chow?
Hi, babe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What's up? How to say your name, man?
Yeah. Sorry, I think mine's a bit. Sorry, I think I was a bit behind just because I've got like 2 devices playing. So.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all good. What's going on, man? How are you?
I think there's a bit of a delay when the questions come through.
Oh, there's a delay? Damn.
Yeah. There's a delay. I will just say on the situation that I feel like Van Vliet would be the better option. I think if you're going to give Harden a contract, it would be a 2-year +1. I would say that's probably a better option if you're going to give Harden a contract. Do I think he's worth a starting, like a number 1 shooter contract? No. I think getting to know Sixers fans like yourself and, Philly Tate with RB and other people on social media, etc., I can feel the frustration. I feel that in sports all the time. It's frustration in spade loads. I really hope Sixers have a good season next year, but when they're starting to make decisions like this, you just have this complete and utter worry about them. You just really do. And, like I said, I think when you put it in perspective, Harden and Harris for up to $100 million combined, on paper, it just sounds like Star Trek in a Star Wars film. It just does not go together at all. And I can't believe I'm in a nerdy comparison. But no, it's just, I have doubts about it. Like I said, I think Van Vliet would have been a better option as a guard. And to be fair, when you look at the shooting guards that are actually in the free agency, like in terms of specific out-and-out shooting guards alongside the likes of Harden, you've got Bruce Brown Jr., you've got Jordan Clarkson, you've got Malik Beasley. So there's not a lot of that quality of player. So you'd have to look for someone who can adapt as a point guard and a shooting guard and has that versatility about him. And I think that Van Vliet fits the bill. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think the Sixers just need to regroup and get their act together.
All right, Chaw, man. Thanks for calling in, bro. I appreciate it. Chaw was in where are you at? Australia somewhere, man. Far away. I guess that's why we had a delay, maybe. But yeah, I mean, well, people are mad when you say Van Vliet's a better option, but we're not saying Van Vliet's better than Harden. We're just saying he is cheaper and might give you, the same level of production in the playoffs. Andre, what's going on, man?
What's good, DJ Eastwood? Yo, just got off work, man, and I gotta unload. I can't believe that this is happening. But you know what? At the same time, you can't be surprised, man. I mean, when you look at Daryl Morey's track record, what happened in Houston. I believe he traded Clint Capella away so he could make Russell Westbrook the center. And then
I think it was Robert Covington was the center then.
Yeah, but I think Russ could because Russ can't shoot, so he was pretty much the center of the team, right? So I mean, you can't be surprised. And I mean, I know people are saying that Van Vliet is a better option, but y'all can't afford him. I mean, the way that the salary cap was set up, it was literally Harden or nothing. I mean, and if Harden walks, you guys had what, 9 million in cap space? 9
Yeah.
million will what get you like 3 games under this?
Yeah, right. It would have to be some kind of sign and trade something.
Yeah, so I mean, there was nothing. So I mean, honestly, y'all got hoodwinked, bamboozled, whatever it is. This plan has been in the works like ever since like Harden left Houston. This is what he wanted, and he got it, man. I remember like when Harden opted out last year, and Daryl Morey tweeted, he said James Harden is a genius, because he is. Because I mean, he left you guys between a rock and a hard place, where it's like you don't want him, but there's no better options.
How can the Sixers get out of the second round next year with this coming back with the same team? You know what I mean? Do you think Nick Nurse is going to be that much of a game changer?
I think there has to be a big trade like mid-season. I think something like big has to happen, because honestly, this is like the same meal for like, the third year in a row. People are just sick of it. I think the players are going to get sick of each other. It's just, I mean, you see it the way that Tobias Harris is talking already, man. Like the first 4 years, he was quiet as a mouse. You didn't hear nothing out of him. But now he's just, he's talking
like he already got traded. He's calling Sixers fans casuals. And I'm like, bro, what?
He
knows that he's being traded, and that's why he's talking that crazy. But
yeah, exactly, man. But I mean, that's just looking at it, like something big like needs to happen. Like it's just like especially if you guys get off to a slow start. I mean, if you guys get off to another 7-9 start or something like that, it's gonna get uncomfortable in that locker room, man.
There's a lot of pressure on I think Nick Nurse to make something happen with this roster that Doc Rivers couldn't make happen, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, the interesting thing about Nick Nurse is like, to me, he seems like a anti-Joel Embiid guy, right? Because like usually like the past coaches would be guys that, wouldn't call players out publicly, would be nice, all that stuff. And I mean, honestly, I think there was times when Joel needed to be called out, but you guys wouldn't, because he's a franchise player. He's a superstar. But, Nick Nurse now, he's known for, not biting his tongue and just like calling guys out.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely a good thing that a good trait that he has, that Doc Rivers was just the complete opposite. Doc Rivers just let players do whatever they want. They were all friends. Let's all just go golfing together, and we don't even have to practice, whatever. So I think that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good thing, but I don't know. I mean, and especially like the style that Nick Nurse plays, like you see up in Toronto, it was kind of ugly to watch like the Raptors play, because it was just like, I remember like Steph Curry, he called it like janky, like their defense and their offense real janky. Like what are you doing? We don't do this in the NBA.
They didn't really have any like skilled, players. It was really just a bunch of athletic guys, kind of looked like a bunch of football players out there. You know what I mean?
Running around just like, making stuff happen, so I mean, like, is that the style that he's gonna play now? It's just like, just sort of ugly, like, style. I don't know, but it's
I think the James Harden fitting that style of play was weird to me, because James was trying to become more of a catch and shoot guy last year, and now it's like Nick Nurse's offense is all about ball sharing and moving off the ball and catching and shooting and passing and screening, and like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how James Harden's going to fit in that system, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be more Joel Embiid, because the last 2 years, like Joel's usage rate was like through the roof. It was like all time. Like no one in the league had the ball in their hands more than Joel Embiid. So is that going to be the same thing with Nick Nurse, or is it going to be like,
I don't think it can be. I think that was Joel trying to get an MVP, and we're like, we're over that, bro. Average 25 and 12. And win a championship. Like, I don't give a damn about your 33 points per game because you had the ball the whole game. You know what I mean? So
for me, I honestly believe if you guys want to win a championship, Joel has to look like the defensive player of the year out there, because I mean, that's the biggest reason why you want a center, right? Someone to protect the rim and to like shut the paint down and stuff. And I mean, in Philly last year, you guys did not do that. So, it was all about the mid-range game with Joel and stuff. And I was just like, is that why you guys have a 7-footer? So you guys could have someone to hit mid-range jump shots? But
Less offense, more defense. That's what we need next year. I agree with that, man. Hey,
Yeah.
Andre, man, thanks for calling in, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right.
Take it easy. Shout out to Andre, man. Great caller. Great caller. Good connection from the car, too. Shout out to technology. Austin is on the line, man. What's up, Austin?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we're good. What's up?
I was just curious. It's more of a general question, and if you covered this already, I apologize. But what do you think the biggest kind of glaring flaw is for us? Because I feel like a lot of things get thrown up in the air, but there's no clear cut. I feel like there's still a huge lack of identity on this team. And so when you get to those game 6s, game 7s, the ball's in whose hands? Because even Embiid, who's been there multiple times, and I think even in that series against the Raptors, he was more fearless than he is now, and I think that has to do with him having more weighing on his shoulders, I guess. But what do you think is the big glaring general flaw here?
I think the biggest flaw for the Sixers is that the NBA is run by elite perimeter wings, and the 76ers have 0 elite perimeter wings. When it comes down to it, you need a guy like a Jason Tatum that's gonna, a 6'8" wing that's gonna drop 50 in a game 7 and take you, lead you to the promised land. You need a guy like that. I think their biggest flaw is probably that Joel Embiid's so good at what he does at the center position that they've tried his whole career to make him the ultimate number one option, no matter what happens. The ball's going to Embiid at the end of the game. And then when that doesn't work, they don't have that elite wing that can, work from the perimeter and give you that. It was, Harden was forced to try to be that. And he failed 2 years in a row in the playoffs. Tyrese Maxey's not there yet. Yeah, you need an elite wing. You need a Devin Booker. You need an elite wing, man. That's it.
Other thing I think is the fact that Doc was still experimenting with stuff like with House in the playoffs. Like that's stuff you kind of mix and match in the regular season, I feel like. And I think it's just telling that we're still trying to figure out this formula for not stopping momentum when it comes to the secondary offense and moving through the bench and cycling through. And I think there's just a lack of depth and that spark outside of Maxey. And I just think we run out of momentum every time we gain it. And
I think Doc Rivers was definitely a major issue. He did no experimenting throughout the regular season. He would do the same thing for the whole regular season, and then when it didn't work in the playoffs, he had no plan B, and then he would just try to, throw something together or whatever. It's just it made really no sense. He was just so stubborn and stuck in his ways. So I'm glad he's out here and we have a fresh idea and a new mind coming in to try to do it differently. But yeah, man, that's where I'm at with it, Austin. You got anything else, my man?
That's it. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, man. Take it easy. Let's see. Nuggets don't have an elite wing. I actually thought of the Nuggets. Right when I said you need an elite wing, I actually thought about the Denver Nuggets. I guess they don't have an elite wing, but there's such an anomaly. They have a 7-foot point guard, and then they have a Jamal Murray who is, perfect combination of, scoring guard that just fits perfectly around Nikola Jokic. And then they have Michael Porter Jr., who, not elite wing, but very good young wing out there. And they had, Aaron Gordon doing what he did and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And they were good, man. They were good. But I think you need a wing. Booker isn't a wing. Okay, guys. I mean, you know what I mean, dude. Actually's in the chat. You need elite perimeter players, all right? Should I say it that way? You need elite perimeter players. You've always needed elite perimeter players to get it done because I just don't think a center can be the end-all, be-all in today's NBA. I just don't think he can, man. I think Joel Embiid needs to play more of a shared role with an elite perimeter player to really, really get it done. And hopefully that's, I guess, Tyrese Maxey this season, because I don't think James Harden's going to be an elite perimeter player. Elite facilitator, sure. I'm talking about elite perimeter playoff scorer. I don't know what else to say, man. I don't know what else to say. Philly needs a player like Jaylen Brown or Zach LaVine. Yeah, see? Elite wing, bro. See? Yeah. Michael Porter is equivalent to McDaniels. What? No, bro. Michael Porter's an absolute sniper. Yeah, let's take one more call and then I'm up out of here. Aubrey, what's going on, man?
Hey, man, what's up? How you doing?
Good, bro. Thanks for calling in.
Man, I don't know if I'm late to the. Well, I'm late to the live, but I don't know what all you said. But man, I feel it's a couple things, right? Embiid can really nullify a lot of these conversations, man, and just be who we think he is, and then we could be raising the banner, honestly, man. Possibly raising the banner, at least getting past the second round. How about that? You know, he can just be the great center, or, you know, like you just said, 25, 12, and 6 assists, man.
Right, yeah.
I think
right.
that gets us past the second round, I believe. Also,
you still need, like, you just need something else there. You know what I mean? Do you think Maxey takes a step where he's kind of like a really high level scorer in the playoffs? Do you think Harden looks better than he did last season?
I believe, man, listen, man, I believe if Joel could be more efficient, you know what I mean? That 25 to 30, you know, 12 rebounds and a 6 assists without the turnovers, being strong, being able to take advantage of somebody like Al Horford, assert his dominance, you know, in them key moments. I think we have enough to at least get past the second round. I'm not saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Even without the flaws, if Joel Embiid would have played like you knew he's able to play, like, yeah. I got you.
Exactly. Yeah. And my second thing, and you know, I ain't gonna hold you because I know you see you getting off. Man, I believe that trade for Harden is going to be so costly to us. I think we should have just won it. I wanted us to trade for Tyrese Halliburton because of what we're seeing right now. At least we would have had our backcourt of the future with the both of the Tyreses.
Exactly. That's what people don't understand about Halliburton. First of all, Halliburton's, like, his stats are very similar to James Harden's.
James Harden, right?
And he was
in the third of the money.
He's 21. So yeah, you're right. Even if, you know, you don't win with Joel, you got two young cats coming up there together, and it would have been more of a longevity play, definitely.
So let's say we bring back Harden at the price point he wants. Now we're still stuck in that middle to average, above average type. Unless Joel takes a next step under Nick Nurse, well, we don't know what that looks like. He needs to maybe, you know, play at a smaller weight, get in better shape. So we're really in the top. That I really once again, I really dislike that trade then, and even more now, because we're really in a tough spot. Tobias, he's talking his way out of town. Maybe that's his whole thing for maybe, you know, talking right now. Maybe he wants to get out of town.
I think he definitely doesn't want to be here. He's tired of not being liked. Yeah.
Right. He's tired of everybody poking at him. He is but I think it's kind of misplaced. Maybe he's hearing all the wrong people.
Maybe. But I just think, well, if either way, we're getting close to the final straw. You know what I mean? Like, if they don't get out of the second round this upcoming season, I thought if they don't get out of the second round this last season, they were gonna make major moves. If they don't make major moves and they get stuck in the second round again, then this is definitely over. That's how I feel about it, Aubrey. Thanks for calling in, man. You got anything else,
take
man?
it easy, Bob.
All right, man. Take it easy. Yeah. What do I push here? Okay. Yeah, we're definitely 100% getting close to the final straw with this era of Sixers basketball. There's, you're getting close to the final straw with Joel Embiid because, what he looked like in the playoffs last year and the fact that he's hurt again. And we keep saying he needs to get in better shape. We say that every single offseason. You know what I mean? It's getting real close to being like, okay, enough is enough. You know what I mean? This upcoming season can really be the final straw for a lot of things, man. Daryl Morey's obsession with James Harden, running the whole team back and not changing a whole lot, refusing to trade Tobias Harris if he does or if he doesn't. Just think there's a lot riding on this upcoming season. And I said this on Twitter yesterday. Philadelphia is the wrong place to piss off Philadelphia is the wrong place to piss off the whole fan base. You know what I mean? Like, Daryl Morey's going to find out very soon what happens when Philadelphia is fed up with a team. Down in Houston, dude, you ran the same team back a million times. Oh, look, we this time we got Chris Paul. This time we got Russell Westbrook. This time we traded Clint Capella. This time they ran the same team back year after year after year, and the fans just kept coming back to watching the James Harden show, and they didn't care. Philadelphia is not like that. They were booing James Harden in the playoffs the first year he was here. Bro, and now Tobias Harris speaking out about the fans. Expect them to boo him the whole damn season. But if they run this whole thing back and they don't look significantly better with Nick Nurse, this fan base is going to boo them every single game, dude. This isn't even going to be close. I mean, it's going to be sheer debauchery in the Wells Fargo Center if they did absolutely nothing to improve what they did last season. If they look the same and it's still James Harden and it's still George Niang and they're still slow and boring and that arena might boo them every single night. Oh, what a franchise, man. Sudlush RZ, thanks for the super chat. Yo, run it back. I got the solution of how the Sixers can stop getting bounced in the second round. They can get bounced in the first round. There it is. There's the solution. And a Go Birds from Kevin Every Jr. Go Birds. Shout out to everybody in here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Needed to get some stuff off my chest. Thanks for calling the show and getting some stuff off of your chest. You know what I mean? Let's keep it going all off season, man. At the end of the day, this is entertainment. This is, 1 hour of us escaping real life and talking about people throwing a ball into a hoop. It doesn't actually matter. It's just entertainment, and we need it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. What else? Hit the notification bell, all those YouTube things. And I will be back very soon